Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News and Voice of the People Television. I am Fina Okechukwu. Before we begin the news, kindly visit the website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. The headlines. Presidency spends over forex 23 billion naira for foreign trips. DSS seeks to stop Utomi'S rallies. Natasha disowns viral blackmail tape on Tinubu. Muslim pilgrims praise at Mount Arafat. Allows us trees entrepreneurship as key to Nigeria's future. In business, Nigeria to manufacture plastic automotive components. In sports, boxing legend Obisia Nwamba dies at 75. And entertainment, NCC cracks down on DJs over copyright violations. Now the news and details. The Independent National Electoral Commission has released the final list of candidates for the 2025 Anambra State governorship election and announced the official commencement of election campaigns. According to the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, the list follows the conclusion of candidate substitution processes and verification of personal particulars submitted by political parties. INEC said the 16 political parties met the submission deadlines of May 12, 2025 and are set to participate in the November 8 election. It further disclosed that among them, the African Action Congress and the National Rescue Movement have nominated female candidates. According to INEC, the ages of the governorship candidates range from 36 to 71 years, and the full list, including details on party affiliation, age, gender, and educational qualifications, is available on its website and social media platforms. The statement added that with the final list now published, no further candidates and submission would be accepted, except in case of death before election day, as stipulated by the Electoral Act. INEC also confirmed that political campaigns may officially begin on June 11 and must conclude before midnight of Thursday, November 6, 2025. Available data show that the presidency spent over 23 billion naira in 2024 to purchase foreign currencies for the international trips of top government officials, including President Bola Tinubu, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, and Vice President Kashim Shettima. Compiled with data from GovSpend, a government spending tracker managed by Budget, this reflects a significant increase from the 18.63 billion naira recorded in 2023, approximately 23% rise. The spike in spending flows from the rising frequency and scale of internally trips by the president and state house officials. The trips said to be vital for Nigeria's diplomatic engagements and international relations are becoming increasingly costly due to the depreciating value of naira against major global currencies. The major ones include the 1.04 billion naira for Tinubu's trip to Ethiopia in February 2024 and 1.27 billion naira expenditure in March 2024 for the Presidential Air Fleet's Forex Transit Funds and the 5.07 billion naira allocated for its operational and foreign exchange needs in April 2024. The others include the Vice President's January 2024 trip to Switzerland, funded with 426.88 million naira, and the 449.79 million naira spent on First Lady's trip to France in January 2024, among others. President Bola Tinubu has approved the release of 2 billion naira for immediate reconstruction of homes of people affected by the recent flood disaster in Mokwa, Niger State. Vice President Kashim Shettima disclosed this when he visited the victims in Mokwa town in Mokwa local government area of the state, assuring that government will address the issues raised by the affected victims of the flood disaster. According to Kashim, the president had also directed the ministers for environment and agriculture to relocate to the state to ensure immediate intervention under the ACRSAL project for drainage issues in Mokwa town. He added that 20 trucks of food items have been approved to be distributed to the actual victims in collaboration with the village head of Mokwa. Shettima condemned the state's I beg your pardon, Shetima commended the state's Deputy Governor and Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency for their proactive handling of the situation. In another development, residents have called on government for urgent intervention following the heavy downpour that caused severe flooding around Zik Avenue on Iweka Road near the popular Ochanja Market in Onitsha, Anambra State. The flood was said to have destroyed goods and disrupted business activities. It was said to have been triggered by several hours of non-stop rainfall and worsened by blocked drainage channels. Reports say that consequently, the flood submerged the entire stretch of Zik Avenue, displacing traders and halting commercial operations for most of the day, with traders and residents struggling to salvage goods from floods, shops and apartments. Some who share their harrowing experience said flooding has been a persistent issue in the area. According to a resident identified as Uchenna, this area is near the River Niger, and any mistake leads to the flood sweeping someone into the river. He stated that the rain was devastating and the kind of flooding they experienced has never been seen before, adding that impending flooding in the months to come could be worse, going by the NIMET prediction. The Department of State Services have asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to prevent a former presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Professor Pat Utomi, from proceeding with his alleged plans to hold rallies. The said rallies are over a suit pending before the court concerning his plan to restrain Utomi and his associates from making public comments or engaging in rallies over the proposed formation of a shadow government. According to the DSS, intelligence reports indicate that though Utomi was currently out of the country, he plans to return on June 6 in association. The DSS alleged that these are intended to foment public discontent in furtherance of the establishment of a purported shadow government or cabinet. Justice James Omotosho has fixed June 25 for hearing on the earlier case by the DSS. In the extant case, the DSS is asking for an interlocutory injunction to restrain Utomi, his associates, and anyone acting on his behalf from organizing any public gatherings, publishing media content, or engaging has refuted any connection with a viral audio and video allegedly featuring discussing with a journalist during which she claimed that Senate President Godswill Akpabio blackmailed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to having her imprisoned. In a personally signed statement, Akpoti Uduaghan, who represents Kogi Central District in the Senate, associates herself from the contents of the recordings and also urged the public to disregard them entirely. According to her, the viral materials are a deliberate act of misinformation crafted with malicious intent to tarnish her image and destabilize the leadership of the National Assembly. She stated that at no time does she grant such interview or hold any such conversation with a journalist or anyone else, adding that the voice in the recording was not hers, but rather a cloned and manipulated voice with clear malicious intent. She stressed that the materials are not only mischievous and criminal, but also a dangerous abuse of technology to spread falsehood. Akpoti Uduaghan further disclosed that her legal team and relevant security agencies have been instructed to investigate the origin of the doctored content and ensure that those behind it are held accountable. Thousands of participants in the ongoing pilgrimage prayer atop Mount Arafat on Thursday today during the high point of the annual Hajj, with hundreds dressed in white dotting the mount itself and many more at its foot praying or undertaking other activities. This is as Saudi officials have asked participants to remain in their tents during the hottest hours of the day to avoid exhaustion and avoidable fatalities. The pilgrims began assembling before dawn around the hill and the surrounding plain where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have given last sermon. According to report, while some arrived early to take advantage of the relatively cool morning, many others will remain for hours of prayers and Quran recitals until the evening in the most arduous portion of the Hajj. At sunset, they will head to Muzdalifah, which is halfway between Arafat and Mina, where they will gather pebbles for the symbolic stoning of the devil. Meanwhile, the Federal Capital Territory Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 4,500 personnel to ensure adequate security during the Eid al-Kabir celebration. Announcing the deployment to Abuja, the FCT and SCDC Commandant Olushola Odomoshu directed officers to secure all areas within the FCT to guarantee a peaceful and hate-free celebration. According to him, this is aimed at safeguarding lives and protecting critical national assets and infrastructure before, during, and after the festivities. He disclosed that the officers were drawn from various specialized units of the Corps, including the Female Strike Force, Armed Squad, and Operational Adkasu. Others, he said, includes the critical national assets and infrastructure units, as well as the chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosives units. Odomoshu instructed that special attention be paid to soft targets and vulnerable locations, including shopping malls, recreational centers, praying grounds, markets, motor parks, and amusement parks. As Nigeria has marked 2 years under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, a new NOI poll suggests a rise in public approval, with rating climbing to 40%. However, this has sparked mixed reactions across the country. While some citizens say they are adjusting to the economic reforms, others insist the hardship is unbearable. VOP TV's Matthew Oguswada has more in this report.
The fresh surge in President Bola Tinubu's job approval rating, leading opposition voices and policy analysts have dismissed the development, citing persisting economic hardship and insecurity across Nigeria. According to data released by NOI polls for April 2025, Tinubu's job approval rating has risen gradually from 11% in February 2024 to 40% as of March 2025, signaling a growing public acceptance of his administration's economic reforms. However, many Nigerians remain deeply concerned about inflation, unemployment, and rising living costs. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar described the rising approval as disconnected from reality, accusing the Tinubu administration of having no credible achievement, claiming its economic policies have worsened hardship nationwide. Similarly, former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi called for urgent action against the worsening insecurity and economic downturn. Telecoms expert Kehinde Aluko and macroeconomist Dr. Vincent Nwani both warned that Nigerians have merely adjusted to the economic strain.
To mark his script, the paper, I'm not giving 100%, I'll give him 90% or more. There's a lot of policy introduced later that if given time, it will grow and become a big tree that everyone who comes around will benefit. 2 years ago, before this present government, each state always pour money to pay their staff's rent salary. Nothing like infrastructure in their various states. But today, I tell you, there's no state in Nigeria that does not embark on infrastructure. That tells you that the policy is working. Net fund, student loan.
So, for its operational and foreign exchange need in April 2024. What do you have to say about this as a Nigerian?
Let me tell you, this money may seem bogus when it is in Naira. If you convert it to dollars, how much is it?
Let's talk about it in Naira, because we are Nigerians and we know what this money means.
What I'm telling you, at the exchange rate of 1,600 Naira to a dollar, 23 billion may not even be up to $5 million. Or maximum, maybe $10 million. It can be up to $10 million. You understand? And you see, the nations these people visit, they don't give free concession to them when they get there. One, they would have to pay for the number of days the aircraft is on ground. They will have to pay some other fees while they are still in that country. And there are some other things they have to spend. For instance, the president cannot go alone. He would have to go with a delegation. If the delegation is much more than, I'm sure you have assisted me converting it to dollar. So what is it in dollar?
Pardon?
I thought you had gone to help me change it to dollar.
No, I didn't, but if I'm to do that, I guess it will get us to like the 14 something or the 14 point something million, yeah, dollars, which is also a big money.
Now,
because
what I'm
to
saying,
break it down is
I'm not saying that I'm supporting frivolous spending.
Yeah.
But what I'm telling you is that a lot of things go into these trips.
When does Nigeria again have First Lady qualification to the point that taxpayers' money amounting to 140-something million naira should be spent on a First Lady's trip? When is it, how constitutional is that spending, and how constitutional is the position of the First Lady in Nigeria?
You see, the reality of it is, even in US, the First Lady also go on trips.
With the state money?
Yes.
Okay.
You understand? So we can't...
Is it constitutionally recognized? The position of the First Lady in US?
The First Lady is not constitutionally recognized.
Okay.
But we still live with it. Oh. You understand? So, and this is not the first time a First Lady will travel on the expenses of the federal government.
Now, why I ask this question is the fact that the present administration have made Nigerians to understand that times are hard. Nigerians, bear with us. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
What if that trip is important?
How much have we heard that particular trip to France generates for Nigerians? Because when we're talking about the importance, it should, in a way or another, have a return back to the nation. We haven't heard that trip actually got Nigeria a dime.
Because you and I, as media practitioners, will never bother to ask. Yes.
No, is it an issue of asking, or is it an issue of making it known?
Wait, at the level the First Lady is landing at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, and I see reporters around her, and some of them ask questions. But unfortunately, what they do is they ask patronizing questions. What stops a reporter on that beat from asking the First Lady, "You're welcome, madam, from this foreign trip. What is the benefit of this trip to Nigeria?" She will be compelled to answer. But would they ask such questions? Because some of us have been compromised, and it's quite unfortunate. We should be asking the right questions. If you are spending 142 million on my behalf from my own money, then you should explain to me why this money can be justified.
The last time we checked, we don't even know when the president or what the president traveled out of the nation for, because the presidency will not tell us. And at this point in time, I'm not even sure.
The
presidency don't tell us why they are traveling. He will just say we are embarking on such a journey, and they won't tell you the reason for the journey. All we hear every time is that the president jetted out, the president is here, and the president is somewhere. It's only on few occasions, on rare occasions, that we got to know what he's out there for. Now, I was told that I have a guest joined from Abuja. We have Ernest Adobo joining us from Abuja. Good afternoon, Ernest Adobo.
Good afternoon, Fina.
Good to have you join today's Midday News.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for joining us here in Abuja. I've been enjoying your conversation since. We're talking about trips by the First Lady, as well as other government officials without Nigerians knowing exactly why they are tripping, which is very, very interesting. So Abuja is calm today, very bright. There's been not much sunshine, but the weather is, it's getting gloomy now. Maybe there'll be rain later in the day. I don't know how Lagos is, but I know you are in the studios. So yes, I'm here. Ready to respond to you whichever way you want it.
From the,
Hello, Vina.
Can you hear? I can hear you. I'm listening.
Hello, Vina, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I can hear you, Ernest,
okay,
if you can.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, yeah.
All right, we
I'm,
know
I'm,
that tomorrow will be the Eid. Tomorrow is a Salah celebration, and we've also learned about
Okay.
the federal government declaring a public holiday and all that. But let me get your opinion on the fact that in Federal Capital Territory, where you are right now, 4,500 personnel have been deployed by the NSCDC to make sure that tomorrow's Eid, the celebration will be void of any interference from unscrupulous elements. What's the situation with that? Have you seen any personnel out already? Talking about the 4,500 have been deployed already.
But I think I can undo.
Do you get that, Ernest?
Okay. Well, okay. If I get you right, if I'll get you right, yes, I did. I can put together what you're trying to ask me in terms of security in the FCT with the deployment of 1,500 NSCDC personnel to provide security due to the Eid celebrations. Well, as you know, I know that's related to the recent bombing in one of the barracks here in Abuja, and I believe it was creating anxiety among the Abuja residents that maybe Boko Haram is infiltrating the Federal Capital Territory all over again. I can assure you that since that incident, people have become more relaxed over the issue, and citizens in Abuja here are very calm. They believe that no matter what it is, the president is here, the top personnel of the security agencies are here, and of course, it will be embarrassing to them and before the president if they cannot at least keep the Federal Capital Territory secure. So I believe it is in respect of that the NSCDC is making that effort to ensure that they have enough men on the ground to ensure that unscrupulous elements do not take advantage of the Eid to cause problems maybe at the praying grounds and in different places where people go to enjoy themselves.
Now, I mean, I'm happy also you
holidays.
pointed to that particular bomb blast that happened in Abuja, as the case may be. We have the Minister of FCT come up to deny that, saying that it wasn't a suicide bomber that carried out that detonation of the bomb there in Abuja. But that's not the first time we're getting something like that too. They have series of bomb blasts in Abuja, as the case may be. I was told that last 2 weeks or thereabout, a particular estate, in Kubwa was also invaded by kidnappers. They operated for some hours or some, time in Abuja before there was police intervention and all that. Now, when you say it's going to be a slap on the face of the top officials who have resided in FCT, if there is, any mayhem or any attack, during the Eid. Also, are you writing out the fact that there was also more heinous actions of unscrupulous elements in Abuja before now? Remember the QJ jailbreak and all that. Help us navigate around it. How much of a slap is it going to be at this point in time?
Look, Fina, look, I can quite countenance those incidents you are making reference to. And I quite agree that, look, there's no doubt about it. Those things are slaps, big slaps on the face of our top security, of the security agencies and their leadership. You cannot be in the FCT. If in the FCT you have criminals and unscrupulous elements going to soft targets and get away with it, where the president resides, the Senate president, the vice president, the Speaker of the House and ministers reside, how then do you expect Nigerians in the hinterland, in Guso, in Mako, in Kafanchan and all those places to feel secure in Nigeria? So I believe that our security agencies and the senior agents, they need to up their game. Nigerians are not very happy. We are just talking about this, but if you remember, of course, Benue State, Plateau State, and other places, there is the need for them to up their game to ensure that Nigerians can feel secure.
Thank you so much, Ernest Dobo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Fina, look, I have one Abuja resident. I have an Abuja resident here. I don't know.
I would have loved to take the Abuja resident, but we're pressed for time, all right? So, and there's a midday news. We'll have other news bulletin to cover, okay? So maybe we can take the Abuja resident after this particular midday news, maybe during, subsequent programs coming up, if the person is still available. Thank you so much, Ernest Dobo, for your contribution in today's midday news. Thank you, Delefanimo.
Press for time. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your day. You're watching the
Media
News and Voice of the People television. We'll go on a quick break. When we'll come back, the rest of the news continues. Welcome back to the Media News and Voice of the People television. The Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, has urged tertiary institutions across the country to commit to producing employable and joy-creating graduates to boost employment, stating that graduates with entrepreneurial skills are critical to achieving national prosperity. Alausa lamented that though Nigeria, with a population of about 200 million, is blessed with many talented young men and women, the nation continues to battle high unemployment. The minister, who spoke while inaugurating the 350 million naira Olufemi Okenla Entrepreneurship Center and maiden edition of the curriculum at Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agua. In business, the National Automotive Design and Development Council says Nigeria will soon begin producing plastic automotive components. NADDC Director General Oluwe Mimo Osanipin disclosed this in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, during a stakeholders engagement, stating that the council had identified certain vehicle components, particularly plastic parts, made from petroleum byproducts, at which Nigeria holds a comparative cost advantage. According to him, the council is prepared to promote the federal government's Nigeria Force policy, which has been the agency's long-standing advocacy. He said this advocacy means Nigerians are going to patronize made-in-Nigeria goods, especially automobiles, where the government spends a lot of money. Osanipin stressed that policy is going to impact what the nation is doing and help grow the automotive sector, adding that a lot of things could be produced in Nigeria, working with major assemblers and vehicle manufacturers. He further disclosed that 12 Nigerian universities, comprising 2 from each geopolitical zone, have been selected to form a team designing and producing electric shuttle buses for university campuses. Meanwhile, the national president of Automotive Dealers of Nigeria, Jibola Adedoyin, said a proper regulatory framework will enhance national security and increase government's revenue, among others. In sports, Nigeria boxing icon Obisia Nwamba, popularly known as Golden Gloves, has died at the age of 75. Confirming the development, President of the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control, Rafiu Ladipo, described Nwamba's death as a blow to the nation's boxing community and called for his legacy to be preserved. Nwamba's death follows a string of notable losses in Nigerian sports this year, including that of late football legend Christian Chukwu and rising boxer Segun Olarewaju, who died in the ring in Ghana. Born in Lagos on May 19, 1950, Nwamba's boxing journey spanned over 4 decades. He represented Nigeria at the 1972 Munich champions in the lightweight division and quickly became a dominant figure on the continental and intercontinental stage. He won gold at the 1973 All-African Games in Lagos and at the 1974 British Commonwealth Games in New Zealand. Moving on to entertainment, the Nigerian Copyright Commission has warned disc jockeys to stop performing other people's music publicly without a license or the owner's authorization, threatening to prosecute defaulters in a case that could lead to a 1 million naira fine or a 5-year jail term upon conviction by a court. NCDC Director General John Asain disclosed this in an advisory issued in Abuja. The NCC stressed that its attention has been drawn to the practice whereby some DJs publicly performed others' music without obtaining the requisite copyright licenses from rights holders or their approved collective management organizations. And that is it on the Media News and Voice of the People television. Before we go, a quick look at the headlines. Presidency spent over forex 23 billion naira for foreign trips. VSS seeks to stop Utomi'S rallies. Natasha disowns viral blackmail tape on Tinubu. Muslim pilgrims pray at Mount Arafat. Entrepreneurs ask key to Nigeria's future. And in business, we told you that Nigeria is moving to manufacturing plastic automotive components. In sports, boxing legend Obisia Nwanba dies at 75. And in entertainment, NCC cracks down on DJs over copyright violation. That is it on the Media News. Do also subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are VOP TV Live. Up next on Voice of the People television schedule is the Spotlight Show with Masinachi Okafor. I am Fina Okechukwu. Good afternoon.